If you're over 60, here's a question that may quietly change how you think about bone health. What if your bones aren't weakening simply because of age, but because the bone repair signal never turns on? Most people believe bone loss after 60 is inevitable, something that slowly happens no matter what you do. But newer clinical and nutritional research suggests that assumption may be dangerously incomplete. Bones don't just fade with time. They respond to biological signals. And when those signals are missing, natural bone repair quietly shuts down long before fractures, pain, or instability ever appear. That raises a critical question most older adults never ask. What signal are aging bones actually waiting for? What if I told you that many seniors consume calcium regularly, yet still experience bone loss year after year? Not because calcium is useless, but because it arrives without proper instructions. After 60, digestion, enzyme activity, and cellular communication all change in subtle ways that determine whether bones rebuild or simply hold on. This is where most bone health advice quietly breaks down because it focuses on ingredients instead of how the body uses them. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Even foods labeled healthy may do nothing to strengthen bones naturally if the biological message is wrong. So if effort isn't the issue, what exactly is missing? According to emerging research in geriatric nutrition and bone metabolism, certain everyday meals can either keep bones passive or quietly tell them to start repairing again. The difference isn't dramatic, which is why it's often overlooked. There's rarely pain at first, no clear warning sign, just a slow loss of internal bone structure that becomes visible only years later. That's the silent risk behind bone density loss after 60. And if the risk is invisible, how would anyone know when to act? This is where curiosity should kick in. What if the bone rebuilding signal doesn't come from supplements at all? What if it comes from something far more familiar, foods many people already eat every week, but in the wrong form or sequence? And what if restoring that signal doesn't require extreme diets, expensive products, or complicated routines? If that's true, why has almost no one explained bone repair for seniors this way before? If you're over 60, this matters more than you've been told. Because bones don't need constant stimulation. They need the right signal. And once that signal is restored, the body often remembers how to rebuild bones naturally. Not instantly, not magically, but measurably over time. So the real question becomes, how do you restart that conversation with your bones after 60? In this video, you're going to discover why certain warm, simple meals support bone repair and bone health for older adults in ways most people never connect, and why the order of those signals matters far more than you think. And in just a moment, we'll begin with the weakest signal most people rely on, before moving step by step toward the one that quietly changes everything. For many people over 60, bone loss after 60 doesn't arrive with pain, noise, or warning. It happens quietly beneath daily life, while everything still feels normal. You walk, you move, you manage your routine. Yet inside, bone tissue may already be thinning and losing internal strength. That's what makes it dangerous. There's often no clear sign until a fall happens, a fracture appears, or balance suddenly feels off. And by then, the damage didn't just start. It's been building silently for years. The question most older adults never ask is this: how long has bone loss already been progressing without symptoms? Here's the part that deserves your full attention. Bone loss after 60 doesn't only increase fracture risk. As bone structure weakens, posture subtly shifts, mobility declines, and the risk of falls rises sharply. One fall after 60 can quietly change independence, confidence, and daily freedom. What's unsettling is that many people believe they're doing enough, eating well, taking calcium, following common bone health advice, while the real problem continues underneath. That's the hidden threat most seniors are never clearly told about. And if this advice is so widespread, why doesn't it actually stop bone decline? But this is where the story changes. Bone loss is not a one-way road, and age alone is not the deciding factor. The good news is that bones are living tissue, even later in life. They listen, they adapt, and when the right biological signals return, natural bone repair doesn't stop just because the calendar says you're older. Research in aging and nutrition shows that bone cells remain responsive, but only when they receive a message they recognize. So what happens when that message finally gets through to aging bones? This is where hope enters. What if the issue isn't that your body can't rebuild bones naturally, but that it hasn't been given clear instructions? What if certain everyday habits support comfort but never trigger real repair? And what if a small shift in how nourishment is delivered could change bone density support over time? That single question has reshaped how many specialists now approach bone health for older adults. Yet most seniors have never heard it explained this way. And here's the reassuring part. The solution doesn't require extreme measures. It doesn't depend on complicated routines or expensive interventions. Instead, it focuses on restoring biological communication, helping bones recognize when and how to rebuild. When that signal is present, the body often responds more efficiently than people expect. Slowly, naturally, but in ways that truly matter. So the real question becomes, where does that bone repair signal actually begin after 60? In this video, you'll discover how to approach bone repair for seniors in a way that moves beyond maintenance and toward real rebuilding, using familiar, comforting choices that work with your biology rather than against it. And as we move forward, you'll see why starting with the weakest signal matters, before understanding what truly completes the chain. According to Harvard researchers studying aging bone tissue, bone loss after 60 is driven less by calcium intake alone and more by how effectively the body processes and uses nutrients. In simple terms, it means your bones don't just need supplies, they need clear instructions on what to do with them. That's why so many seniors follow nutrition advice faithfully and still feel weaker or less steady over time. And here's the question most older adults never pause to ask. If intake isn't the main issue, what actually is? A 2023 clinical review in geriatric nutrition found that aging changes digestion, enzyme release, and cellular signaling in ways that quietly interfere with natural bone repair. In everyday language, the body becomes slower at translating food into action. That's why two people can eat the same meal, but only one sees benefits. If you've ever wondered why your strength doesn't match your effort, this is often why. So what helps your body translate nourishment again? And why do some approaches work while others barely register? Researchers in bone metabolism have shown that bone cells remain biologically active well into later life, but only when the right signals reach them together. In simple terms, bones are listening, but the message often arrives fragmented. That's why some habits bring comfort without real improvement in bone density support. Many older adults feel maintained, but not stronger, and that gap matters. What would happen if the signal arrived complete, not scattered, not partial, but fully understood by the body? Studies on musculoskeletal aging also suggest that warmth, timing, and nutrient form can influence how the body interprets nourishment. Put simply, how something is delivered can matter as much as what it contains. That's why certain comforting routines feel good but don't change outcomes. If the body doesn't recognize a repair cue, it stays in standby mode, even when you're doing everything right. So how do you switch that mode off? And what's the simplest way to make the signal unmistakable for aging bones? A growing body of research suggests that familiar traditional preparations can activate multiple repair pathways at once. In everyday terms, when nutrients arrive together, the body understands the assignment. That's why older generations often benefited from simple routines long before modern supplements existed. The real mystery isn't whether these signals can work, it's why they were forgotten and what changes when they're brought back into daily life for bone health for older adults. Clinical observations also show that order matters. Bones respond differently depending on which signal arrives first and which completes the chain. In simple language, starting in the wrong place can make the right step feel ineffective. Many seniors unknowingly stop at early signals and never reach repair. So what does a complete sequence actually look like? And why do most people never make it to the final step? This is where science meets daily life. When you understand how the body interprets nourishment after 60, the confusion begins to clear. And in the next part, we'll break this down step by step, starting with the weakest signal most people rely on, and why it so often falls short. Now let's count down the soups that influence bone repair after 60, starting with the weakest signal and moving step by step toward the one that completes the repair message. Pay close attention to the order because with aging bones, sequence often matters more than people realize, and many older adults stop too early without knowing it. Bone health after 60 is rarely about doing nothing. It's more often about starting in the wrong place. And that single mistake can quietly stall natural bone repair for years. Number 6. Vegetable broth. Support without direction. Vegetable broth creates a calmer internal environment by providing fluids and trace minerals that support general metabolism. For overall health, this matters. But for bone health in older adults, this effect stays in the background. It doesn't activate rebuilding pathways or send a strong bone repair signal after 60. In simple terms, it helps the system run smoothly, but it doesn't tell bones to rebuild. In everyday use, vegetable broth works best as a light base during low appetite days, illness, or recovery periods when digestion needs support. The quiet risk for seniors is assuming that healthy automatically means bone building. The result is stability without progress. And this is often where people pause, follow routine advice, and wonder why bone loss after 60 continues despite their efforts. So if support isn't enough, what's missing? Number 5. Lentil soup. Material without instructions. Lentil soup adds plant protein, magnesium, and potassium, all important contributors to bone metabolism. Protein matters because bones rely on a protein framework beneath minerals like calcium. Without that framework, minerals have nowhere stable to settle. But after 60, raw material alone doesn't tell bones what to do. Lentils provide building blocks, not direction. That's why lentil soup works best a few times per week, paired with foods that improve nutrient use and absorption. Seniors with sensitive digestion benefit from moderate portions rather than large servings. The result is better nutritional coverage and improved support, yet natural bone repair still doesn't fully turn on. Bones are supplied, but they're not instructed. And that leads to the most important question so far. What actually tells aging bones to respond? And when does that signal finally arrive? Number 4. Chicken soup. When muscles wake bones up. Chicken soup supports bone health after 60 in a way many people overlook because it doesn't speak to bones directly. It speaks to muscles first. It provides high-quality protein that helps maintain and rebuild muscle tissue, and stronger muscles send gentle mechanical signals to bones during everyday movement. Each step, each shift in balance, each time you stand up from a chair, muscles apply small forces that tell bones they are still needed. After 60, this muscle-to-bone communication becomes one of the most important drivers of bone density support. And here's the key curiosity. What if bone loss continues not because bones are failing, but because muscles stop sending the message? As we age, muscle mass naturally declines unless it's supported. When muscles weaken, bones receive fewer mechanical cues. And without those cues, bone tissue slowly downshifts into a maintenance mode. Chicken soup helps interrupt that process by supplying easily digestible protein that aging bodies can actually use. Unlike heavier protein sources, it's gentle on digestion and fits naturally into regular meals. That's why many seniors feel more stable before they ever see changes in bone scans. But stability alone doesn't mean rebuilding. So what's missing? For adults over 60, chicken soup works best when paired with light, consistent movement. You don't need intense exercise. Simple activities like walking, light resistance, or even daily household tasks amplify the signal muscles send to bones. Protein provides the fuel, movement delivers the message. This combination is especially effective for older adults who feel stiff, cautious, or unsteady. And here's an important realization. Bone repair after 60 rarely begins with bones alone. It often begins with muscles reclaiming their role. However, there's an important caution. Protein by itself is not a complete bone solution. Chicken soup strengthens communication, but it doesn't provide the full set of materials bones need to rebuild. Without minerals like calcium and magnesium, and without collagen to create structure, the signal remains incomplete. This is where many people stall. They feel stronger, yet bone density doesn't improve as expected. So the question becomes, How do you turn communication into actual construction? In practical daily life, chicken soup fits best as a regular balanced part of meals rather than a targeted remedy. For seniors, consistency matters more than quantity. Large portions aren't necessary, and more is not better. The goal is steady support that keeps muscles engaged without overwhelming digestion. When muscles stay active, bones stay responsive. And when bones stay responsive, they're ready for the next step. The result of regular chicken soup use is renewed communication. Muscles wake bones up and remind them they're still part of the system. This doesn't create instant repair, and that's not a failure. It's a signal that the process has begun. Over time, many older adults notice improved posture, better balance, and greater confidence in movement. And here's the curiosity to carry forward. Once muscles reopen the conversation, what happens when bones finally receive the materials they've been waiting for? As we continue the countdown, remember this: bone health after 60 isn't a single switch. It's a sequence. And chicken soup plays a crucial role by restarting communication, setting the stage for the deeper rebuilding signals that come next. Number 3, fish soup, the calcium switch. Fish soup plays a unique role in bone health after 60 because it controls something far more important than calcium itself: whether calcium is actually used. Fish-based soups provide vitamin D, the biological switch that determines if calcium is absorbed into bone tissue or quietly passes through the body unused. With age, this switch often becomes less responsive, especially in older adults who spend less time in the sun. That's why many seniors consume calcium consistently, yet see little improvement in bone density. The calcium is present, but the switch isn't fully on. And this raises a critical question. How much calcium is your body actually using right now? For people over 60, fish soup helps restore sensitivity to this calcium switch. Vitamin D improves how bone cells recognize and respond to minerals already circulating in the bloodstream. When this signal weakens with age, bones become less responsive, even if intake looks perfect on paper. Eating fish soup once or twice per week can gently reactivate this pathway without overwhelming digestion. And when bones begin to respond again, something subtle but important happens. The body starts paying attention to nutrients it previously ignored. In practical daily life, fish soup works best as part of a steady routine rather than an occasional fix. Consistency matters more than portion size. For seniors with limited sun exposure, especially during winter months or in northern climates, this becomes even more important. A warm bowl of fish soup delivers vitamin D in a food-based form the body recognizes easily, and this leads to an often overlooked insight. Bone repair after 60 is less about adding more, and more about restoring responsiveness. There is also an important caution to keep in mind. For adults using blood-thinning medications, sudden large changes in vitamin D intake may affect balance. This doesn't mean fish soup should be avoided. It means portions should remain consistent from week to week. Bone health improves best when signals are steady, not erratic. And stability in intake helps stability in bones. So the goal isn't intensity, it's reliability. The result of regular fish soup intake is improved nutrient response. Bones begin to listen again. Calcium that once passed through without effect starts to register. This doesn't mean immediate rebuilding, and that's actually a good sign. Bone repair is gradual by design. Over time, seniors often notice better balance, less stiffness, and a growing sense of structural confidence. And here's the curiosity worth holding on to. If the calcium switch is finally turned on, what happens when the body also has the right framework to work with? As we move forward, keep this in mind. Minerals only matter when bones are ready to receive them, and in the next step, we'll look at what prepares bones before minerals arrive so that a repair doesn't just start, but actually holds. Number 2, bone broth, rebuilding the framework. Bone broth works at a deeper level than most people realize because it focuses on structure before strength. It supplies collagen-forming amino acids such as glycine and proline, which rebuild the flexible internal framework bones need before minerals can properly lock in. After 60, this step becomes critical because bones don't usually lose density first, they lose elasticity. And when flexibility is gone, Even calcium struggles to stay where it belongs. This is why many seniors take minerals faithfully, yet still feel fragile. So the real question is, what are those minerals attaching to? For older adults, bone broth helps restore that missing foundation. Collagen acts like scaffolding inside bone tissue, creating a stable but flexible matrix that prepares bones to accept calcium and magnesium more effectively. Without this framework, minerals may circulate in the body without ever contributing to true bone repair. That's why bone broth is often felt in joints and posture before it's ever seen on a scan. And if bones finally have structure again, what might that allow next? In everyday use, warm bone broth works best when taken regularly rather than in large quantities. For seniors, small daily servings or a few cups per week are often enough to support joint comfort and bone strength without overwhelming digestion. Timing also matters. Many people find it easier to absorb earlier in the day or between meals when digestion is calmer. And this raises another point most people overlook. Bone repair isn't about pushing harder. It's about allowing the body to respond. There is an important caution here. More is not better. Bone broth can be high in sodium, and excessive intake may place unnecessary strain on blood pressure or kidneys, especially for adults over 60. Balance matters. Bone health after 60 is about consistency, not excess. When used thoughtfully, bone broth supports natural bone repair instead of stressing the system. And when the body isn't under strain, it listens more clearly. The result of regular bone broth use is structural readiness. Bones finally have something solid, yet flexible, to rebuild on. This doesn't create instant change, and that's exactly why it works. Over time, seniors often notice steadier movement, improved joint comfort, and a greater sense of stability. And here's the curiosity to hold on to. If structure is restored first, what happens when minerals arrive next? As we move closer to the final step, keep this in mind. Bones don't rebuild from the outside in. They rebuild from the framework outward. And in the next part, you'll see what happens when structure and minerals finally arrive together, completing the repair signal aging bones have been waiting for. Number 1. Traditional bone-in soup with vegetables. The complete signal. And finally, we arrive at the most surprising one. Not because it's exotic or hard to find, but because it's been quietly overlooked for decades. Slow-cooked soups made with bones, connective tissue, and mineral-rich vegetables deliver protein, collagen, calcium, magnesium, and supportive vitamins together in a form the aging body recognizes immediately. This matters because after 60, bones don't respond well to isolated nutrients. They respond to coordination, and this type of soup sends one of the clearest coordination signals the body understands. For people over 60, this combination matters more than any single supplement or nutrient taken alone. Collagen provides the flexible framework bones need before minerals can lock in. Calcium and magnesium arrive at the same time, improving how bone tissue absorbs and organizes them. Vegetables contribute supportive compounds that help guide this process instead of overwhelming it. When these elements arrive together, bones don't hesitate, they recognize the message. And that raises an important question. Why does this work when so many other approaches stall? The answer lies in how aging bones interpret nourishment. Bone health after 60 isn't about flooding the system, it's about clarity. When nutrients arrive in isolation, bones often stay cautious. But when they arrive together, in the right form, the body understands that repair is safe to begin. That's why traditional bone-in soups have supported bone strength across generations, long before modern supplements promised quick fixes. And it's why many older adults feel a difference not immediately but steadily, week by week. In practical daily life, this soup works best when consumed regularly as part of normal meals, not as a short-term remedy. For seniors, consistency matters more than quantity. A warm bowl several times per week supports natural bone repair, joint comfort, and overall stability without stressing digestion. The key caution is patience. This isn't a dramatic overnight solution, and that's exactly why it works. Bones rebuild slowly, but when the signal is clear, they rebuild with purpose. The result is a genuine bone repair message, not forced, not artificial, but biologically familiar. Over time, this can support stronger bones, better balance, and improved confidence in daily movement. And here's the curiosity worth holding on to. If this simple approach delivers such a complete signal, what happens when it's combined with the right timing and routine? This countdown shows why starting weak and finishing strong truly matters for bone health after 60. And in the next section, we'll connect these signals into a simple, realistic routine, so you can decide how to apply them safely, confidently, and in a way that fits your everyday life. If you've been feeling tired, cautious, or even a little anxious about your bones lately, you're not alone. Many people over 60 feel the same way, even if they rarely talk about it. The good news is that your body can still respond and regain strength later in life, often more than people expect, especially when the right bone health signals are restored. Tell us in the comments, how old are you, and what's your biggest health goal right now? You may be surprised how many others are walking the same path. Your experience could be exactly what another senior watching today needs to hear, and in just a moment, we'll gently bring everything together. Before making major diet changes, always check with your doctor, especially if you're managing medications or long-term conditions. Your body still has an incredible ability to respond, adapt, and grow stronger, even after 60, when bone repair and bone strength for seniors truly matter. If this video helped you, like it and share it with someone who may need this encouragement today, because improving bone health after 60 is often easier when you don't take the next step alone.